Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! Here goes the mother!
Oh, it doesn't matter!
This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Believe if you can survive!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from the Bulletcast. It's Phillip. How's it going, man?
It is Sunday night. It is your birthday. Happy birthday, man. Congrats on being 45.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not 45. I'm 38 now. I'm 38.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. Sunday night. AEW Full Gear was yesterday. Yeah, let's talk about some sports entertainment.
Yeah, man. So here we are. As you mentioned, it is Sunday night. First off, I just want to thank everyone for the birthday messages, the phone calls, texts, social media, posts, comments, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. Definitely feel the love today. And yeah, man, I was like, crap. Tomorrow I go to work, and then after work I come home, and then I drive down to LA, and I'm going to Disneyland for a couple days, and then come back. So I was like, I have no other time in my schedule this week to record my Full Gear review. It's like, I got to do it tonight. So thank you, Phil, for making the time to jump on with me and get this in the books. But yes, here we are. Sunday night is a full 24 hours after AEW's Full Gear pay-per-view happened yesterday. And unfortunately, I didn't get to watch it live. I was just busy. I was filming some TV stuff with my coworker on her TV show, which I'll plug that when it's closer to dropping next in a few weeks. And then one of my best friends, Brian, it was his daughter's birthday, so I went to his place afterwards and just caught up with a lot of family and friends I haven't seen in a while. And so I came home and I want to watch the pay-per-view, but it wasn't ready yet on Bleacher Report. So let's just touch on that real quick. So, Phillip, that's something you and I saw the announcement that for this pay-per-view, it was exclusively only available in the U.S. on Bleacher Report, their app, their website, all that stuff. All Out last or 2 months ago was available on Bleacher Report and Fight TV. And before that, it used to be BR Live.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that BR Live and Bleacher Report became one thing. This happened a couple months ago, and I just found out like this week.
That's the thing. Yeah, I got the email, and then I think there was some sort of press release or something. But because Bleacher Report. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, AEW, their television deal is on TNT, which is owned by Warner Media, which also owns Bleacher Report. Hence why AEW, when they got their TV deal, it was also announced like all their pay-per-views were going to be on Bleacher Report's app, which was BR Live. BR Live was their app for all like streaming all the sporting events that they host and whatnot. And so it was two separate things. Like Bleacher Report had an app and BR Live had an app. And so I guess what they decided is just instead of separating the two, they just merged them together, or more or less just dropped BR Live and made everything focus solely on Bleacher Report app. So yeah, All Out was the first pay-per-view they did post shutting down the BR Live app and moving things over to the Bleacher Report app. I tried messing with it a couple months ago. I wasn't really comfortable with the interface at the time. So that's why you and we watched it on Fight TV a couple months ago for the last pay-per-view. This time around, there was a press release last week saying Full Gear was going to be only available on Bleacher Report in the U.S. and Fight TV internationally. And I was like, oh, man, like I was anticipating just ordering on Fight TV again. But this time around, they decided Bleacher Report, which I guess it makes sense because that's the parent company that owns them or owns the TV deal, Bleacher Report, Time Warner, TNT. It all makes sense. But yeah, so I didn't get to watch it live. So right before I went to bed last night, I was like, let me catch a little bit of it before I went to sleep. I turned on the app and it wasn't available yet. The replay, I was like, come on, people. Do you think people are all watching live? I'm sure some people like me are catching it afterwards. And I did my best to avoid spoilers. I saw a couple, but other than that, everything else was still like, I didn't know any of the outcomes of some of the other matches. The only thing I got spoiled for me was like Hangman won. Like I saw on Twitter, everyone reacting to that. But still, I was just getting a little frustrated. I was like, come on, people, like get that replay. It's been a couple hours since the show ended. So anyway, and then I woke up this morning and it still wasn't ready. And then all of a sudden they just started streaming the show live again. It wasn't like available to watch on demand when you want it. It hit start. The show just started playing like randomly, like at 10:15 here on the West Coast. And I was like, oh, okay. So I immediately just turned it on, just started watching it. But yeah, so I'm not perfectly in love with the Bleacher Report app. I hope they still work out the kinks, and hopefully for the next pay-per-view, it's going to be a lot more smoother process. And then I saw Fight TV had it available the next day. So maybe Bleacher Report has the exclusive live streaming of it. And then on demand, like the next day, it's also going to be available on Fight TV. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious how they're going to do that moving forward. So anyway, moving forward, Philip, we'll just start, as always, like we do, let's give your overall takes of the pay-per-view. What were some just overall, your thoughts on this show?
Well, there was alcohol involved, so let me try to remember. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was happy with, the outcome for Hangman winning the championship. I did feel it was kind of anticlimactic, if that makes sense. We'll talk about that once we get to the main event.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice opener with Maxwell and Darby. The tag match, that the ending there, I guess they're going to do some other type of booking moving forward with the Lucha Bros and FTR, but that didn't really sit well with me. The women's match, it just didn't hit. Punk and Eddie, it was cool. Brian and Miro, I thought that was a nice finish. Daniel Bryan, he's the submission specialist, and he's been beating people with different submissions since he's been in AEW. So I thought that was a nice nod on that story, and for him to become the number one contender.
Yeah, I'm very much with you as far as I thought going into this show, it was a stacked card. Like, I'm just off the top of my head, maybe it's just recency bias, but I think maybe I thought it had better storylines going to this pay-per-view compared to All Out. I think All Out, a lot of people were more excited for the potential debuts or surprises.
Yeah.
Like I have to look at them again. I didn't look at compare the cards, but I think a lot of people were more excited for All Out because it was CM Punk's return to the ring for the first time in 7+ years, who could potentially be there. I mean, the rumor was leaking it was going to be Daniel Bryan, but we also got Adam Cole. So all these surprises really made that show special. But like this one, like I really was excited for all the buildup for some of these matches going into the show. So yeah, I was excited. I like I said, maybe we could do it later. We can compare the two shows, which was the better pay-per-view.
Well, I want to say this. I think AEW, I think the trend this year has been surprises at pay-per-views. Revolution, we got Christian Cage.
Yeah.
At Double or Nothing, we got Mark Henry.
Yeah.
And then All Out, obviously we get Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, and then
Ruby Soho.
Ruby Soho, that's true. Spoiler alert if you don't know what happened last night. We got Jay Lethal.
That's right. Yeah. So
maybe that's just for this year. That could be a trend for the foreseeable future. But I don't know. I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Is just for me, like this, I think was a stacked card as far as all the matches lined up. I was like, man, all these matches are really good. I mean, there was a couple that like maybe could have just main evented a Dynamite, and maybe someone else could have maybe got a spot here. I was really surprised there was not more women's matches, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, very much. I thought it was great wrestling overall. A lot of great matches. I thought the beginning of the show started out really good. Then it kind of died down a little bit in the middle, and then things started picking up the last few matches on the night. So it was kind of like one of those up and down waves. But overall, I had a lot of fun. It's, we should maybe at the end of the year, we could kind of power rank, AEW, just the year in review and like where this ranked amongst the other pay-per-views and whatnot. But also want to get your thoughts on the set. So it was a little bit of a different set this time around. It wasn't like the traditional tunnels where the heel tunnel and the babyface tunnel that AEW normally uses. This was a little bit of a different set.
They had tunnels of Jace. There were tunnels of Jace.
Well, but they still came like they had like, I don't know what you call it, these pillars, no pun intended, but like these like and then like the big screens off to the side.
Yeah, they still had like the kind of the circle, but like it wasn't like the full tunnel.
Yeah, because when they came out, they still had to come around the screen, if I remember correctly. What I liked about the tunnel, I mean that the setup, it looked like very much like an early '90s WCW set. Like that's how I kind of my initial reaction. But then again, in general, yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what I want them to do? Do you remember? I think that when they used to run the Omni back in the early '90s and late '80s, they would have like that door that would open up like from the future. You know, like you go into like a grocery store or something, it automatically opens up for you. I want them to do something like that.
I know that's the thing. I was like watching this, and like it just really for me, it just like looking at this set, it just screamed like early '90s WCW pay-per-view or something like that. And even it was cool, like they would walk down the ramp, and the ramp was very much lit it up with graphics and stuff. I thought that was cool. But I like how when the wrestlers were walking down the ramp, the camera just stayed on them and the camera just backed up with them, walked with them in sync, which in the past, like, you know, sometimes WWE does a little bit different. They might cut to the crowd. I mean, they do a better job of now of like they zoom in and walk with them. But this one, the way they filmed it, it felt very much like an old school WCW show where you see them walk, especially when FTR was coming to the ring. Like the way they walked out to the ring, it felt like early 90s for me, WCW. I don't know why. Maybe because they got the remix entrance music, which is a play on the Midnight Express.
I have some things to say about the FTR music, but we'll get into that once we get
okay. So but I enjoyed that setup, the presentation. And then again, I miss actual stage setups for wrestling. We're so conditioned on WWE's product where they just have like a huge TV screen, just have the big flashing lights and the graphics, and the wrestlers come out and stuff. And, you know, it's a very large over the top visual versus this is actual props, and that the wrestlers walk around the props and stuff. So I like that old school feeling from that. That's ultimately what I'm getting at. So
absolutely, man.
All right, so let's get into it. I did not watch the buy-in. I'll be fully honest. Just like I said, my schedule's way too busy.
I didn't watch it either.
Okay, so all I know is Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa took on Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. These are four ladies that are in the TBS women's title tournament, and Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa got the win over Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose. Good for them. It just all four of them. It just adds a little more, I guess, storyline for the tournament that's going on right now. Yeah. Also, before I forget, shout out Vicky Guerrero coming out to the crowd. For anyone who doesn't realize, so yesterday, November 13th, was the 16th anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's passing.
Yes, it has been 16 years since we lost Eddie Guerrero. I remember that like it was yesterday. Viva la raza.
Yeah, and coincidence, Full Gear was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, same city where Eddie Guerrero was found dead. So
that's eerie, man. That's eerie.
Very much so. So for Vicky Guerrero to come out there and the crowd was chanting Eddie. Even like I saw someone post on Twitter, they went to the Marriott hotel that he passed away and they took a photo from outside. So that was, I don't know. It was kind of interesting, kind of eerie as well. I was like, okay. But some people, I guess, were going there on the day of, and I don't know, paying respect somehow, I guess, by doing that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I know, like we heard about people, taking pictures outside of the motel where Dr. King was shot. So I guess it's kind of the same. Same thing,
Yeah, exactly. So we'll jump into the main show itself. It started with MJF and Darby Allen. This matchup was more or less just about the story of these two guys are like the pillars, the OGs, the homegrown talent of AEW start.
Yes.
Is that the right way of explaining it?
Absolutely, man. And, people are really starting to come around on MJF and his in-ring work because he's a great talker. He's a great heel. He holds nothing back with the things he says on the mic. But people were like, he just doesn't bring it in the ring. I think people are starting to silence that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, the thing with MJF is, he cuts amazing promos. his in-ring style for me watching, he does what needs to be done as a heel for that particular storyline. Like,
absolutely.
Call me old school, call me a 38-year-old wrestling fan, but like, AEW is known for a lot of the high flying, the high spots, the no selling. MJF very much has more of an old school wrestling style, a little bit slower, more basic.
Less is more.
Yes, exactly. So when I see an MJF match, he's definitely more of an old school heel in the ring. So I have no problem with that because he tells the story of being a total dick in the ring and trying to put over the baby face.
Look, a headlock takeover won a match in 2021.
Exactly.
Let us rejoice.
So yeah, the match itself, I like the beginning, kind of started a little more technical. Was it very much like Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, right? I heard someone made that comparison, how they were holding each other hand to hand and kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, Eddie and Dean used to run that spot a lot.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool seeing the two of them do that. Even for Darby Allen does a lot of the high-flying stuff, the daredevil work. So they see him kind of mix up on the mat. That was a little bit different to see.
I want to say he was an amateur wrestler. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But I feel like he was one of them.
But Darby Allen, man, he probably is the best at doing the suicide dive. It's like a bullet coming out of the ring, hitting the opponent.
Absolutely, yeah. He just torpedoes it straight ahead. Darby Allen will be at Stockton Con in January. You're welcome, Mike.
Yes. Thank you, Mike Miller. You got the plug right there. So yeah, maybe you and I should go out there and we should go meet him. Let's go meet him.
Well, last time I went to Stockton, didn't really work out so well. I don't know about that.
Well, we'll make a trip. We'll have some fun. We'll try to find Mike. I know he's a busy guy, but we'll try to hunt him down in person. Maybe. How about this? Maybe we ask to host a panel or something.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, you never know. You never know. You never know.
I would love to help out more with Stockton Con. If you and I can help out maybe with some more of the wrestler stuff.
Absolutely, man. So, yeah. I'll carry Darby's bags.
Yeah, absolutely. maybe stay with make surprise appearance. Yeah, okay. So let's talk off the air about that. So, but the match itself, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, this is probably MJF's best wrestling match, and I think he proved a lot of doubters that he can go in the ring. And the finish, I love how the finish here, how he brought the skateboard in and I was going to hit him, and then he told Darby, hit me with the skateboard. And then he took the ref took the skateboard, put it outside, and that's when MJF hit Darby with the ring. And then when the ref turned back around, he did what's it called, the headlock
takeover. Yes, and he hooked the head. Yeah,
and
he
got
cradled
the pin.
Him after, really.
And he got the pin. So MJF wins. Now, did you see what he did? Like, he was talking to Darby, and he said, like, number one. Was he saying like he's the number one pillar? He's just number two. I was trying to read something the lips.
Yeah, I think it was something along the lines of that.
Because like I wonder if MJF is going to try to go after the other guys he named off as pillars. Like maybe
that could keep him. Hey, that could keep him busy. Who
were the pillars again? So it was him, Darby Allen, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Let him go after Jungle Boy or whatever.
Because Sammy he already kind of did with Inner Circle, Pinnacle.
Yeah, but then I think he could take the TNT title off of Sammy.
I think, dude, he should be world title picture scene now. That's me, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But so I wonder if that's kind of like his missions to take out the other pillars he mentioned in that promo.
Because I mean, MJF, if you really think about it, he's been a real day one. He was with them at All In.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing with MJF is, and in general, when it comes to AEW with their storytelling, now for me, it's like I try to pay extra attention to these promos that I might not pay attention as closely in WWE, because they're the type that they'll drop like a reference or an Easter egg that might seem like a throwaway line, but it's actually something that they're going to come back to later in months, year, whatever. Yeah. So MJF saying all those pillars names, like, I wonder if that's his mission to go after each of them at some point. So
possibly.
Just put it out there. So I really like this opening match here. Next up, saw the Lucha Brothers defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against FTR, joined by Tully Blanchard. I love the beginning. I love them coming out there. Felt like old school WCW. But yeah, FTR with their theme music. So Philip, your thoughts on that?
Why did they change the theme?
I don't know. It's
I got because I mean, obviously their first theme in AEW was a riff of the Revival theme, which it fit them.
Sure,
It fit what they were doing. Yeah, they changed up the theme, and I'm like, this doesn't hit. Like I don't know. Maybe I just need to take some time to get used to it or whatever. But I'm just like, it kind of threw me off, and then the finish, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know.
Really? So so Lucha Bros come out. They have another great entrance. I give them credit. They do like the best pay-per-view entrances.
Hey man, Alex Abrahantes looked like he was having the time of his life.
Yeah, exactly. It's so he comes out. I mean, the Lucha Bros come out. FTR come out. I really enjoyed this match. I give AEW credit. They made me fall in love with tag team wrestling again.
Because it's not a knock to like the match itself. Just the finish was a little like okay.
Yeah, no, the finish was a little botchy. I mean, or the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah. I love FTR. They're crisp in the ring. Pentagon, he's great for a man like kind of his build. The things he can do is nice. And I say it every time. Ray Phoenix is just raw. He's just raw as hell. He's awesome.
Listen, I know a lot of people love Penta on Lucha Underground. And for me, like a lot of people were giving Penta a lot of the attention. Whenever I saw Ray Phoenix, I was like, ooh, that guy is awesome. And then when we got to see them here in the Bay Area with APW in person, like he really won me over. And then seeing him progress on Impact and then AEW, I'm like, whoa. I know a lot of people like Penta, but dude, I think Ray Phoenix, it might be the better out of the two, or at least maybe the more athletic. I don't know. I really do enjoy watching them together.
Phoenix is definitely the more athletic out of the two.
I mean, I think Phoenix might be due for a singles run soon. I mean, he really could be this generation's Rey Mysterio.
That's why I said get a lightweight title or something.
Yeah, something to go after. But dude, what I like about this match is like, okay, we know the Lucha Brothers last pay-per-view against the Young Bucks, high flying, nonstop action over and over. You just get mentally exhausted from watching so much going on. It's a lot to process. This match, it's very much a contrast of styles. FTR, very much the old school. No dives. What was their saying?
No flips, just fists.
Yeah, they don't like diving. They don't do all that crazy high flying stuff. They're very much old school. Cut the mat in half. Tag team wrestling, storytelling. Keep it on one side of the ring. Old school, just tactics and stuff. And so, with that being said, I like this contrast here. Lucha Bros, the high flyers. FTR, old school. And so they were able to tell different stories that we haven't seen as much. Lucha Brothers, they couldn't just rely solely on the high flying stuff. They had to get back on the mat and do some more technical stuff to capitalize with FTR. FTR, they stepped up their game as well, as far as trying to keep up with the high flying stuff. They got a guy up in the air a few times, and so I just like the contrast here. It's like a yin and yang, opposites attract. They brought the best out of each other. So I really enjoy what the story they were doing here. And honestly, like I said, AEW really brought back my love for tag team wrestling as far as watching it. I mean, this one was a lot of fun. But yeah, the finish though was a little wonky as far as the FTR on the outside, and they go under the ring and they both put on green masks. And I believe it was
Cash was the illegal man, and he's the one that got pinned. Dax, the bald one, he was the legal man, and he was outside of the ring.
Yeah, so they put the green mask on, so the ref could not know who it was, and so Cash Wheeler was back in the ring, and he got the pin. But yeah, technically he was the illegal man. It was supposed to be Dax in there, but since the ref couldn't tell because he had the green luchador mask on, so Lucha Brothers pick up the victory, but it leaves that open-ended story beat there as far as FTR can say, listen, you guys beat us, but you didn't beat the legal man, so we deserve a rematch or something. So I think that's what's going to happen.
Wouldn't you be able to tell by the tattoos?
Or the back of the hair sticking out of the mask. Yeah. So yeah, that was a little story beat right there. I was like, okay, guys, come on, ref. You should know a little bit better than that. But anyway, I think since FTR lost, they could make that argument saying, hey, you pinned the wrong guy, the illegal guy, so we deserve a rematch, which is fine. I love this tag team match between the two of them, the two different styles, but it worked together. So bring it on, which, hope maybe they'll build to the next pay-per-view, or it could be a main event on Dynamite in the coming weeks. So we shall see. Next up, it was the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament final between Bryan Danielson and Miro. Now, this was a match that kind of came together a little bit last minute. Miro was the replacement for Moxley, who entered rehab about a week and a half ago now, a couple weeks ago. So
yeah,
Miro took Moxley's spot, picked up the victory, and was going to be in the finals against Bryan Danielson here, or as Jim Ross kept saying, Daniel Bryan throughout this match. Poor JR.
Hey, man, he's been Daniel Bryan for like, what, 10 years, a decade? Like, I understand. I understand.
I think just say Bryan. At this point, just say Bryan because, yeah, if you just say Bryan, we all know it's Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. When you say Bryan, you're fine.
I do like in the video package they touched on, Daniel Bryan. You see, I did it too. Bryan Danielson has never beaten Miro, even when they were in WWE. Rusev always won. Which was
so 3 years ago they had a match together with the King of the Ring match?
It was Money in the Bank qualifying.
Or Money in the Bank Yeah.
Yeah, that was when Daniel had just come back from retirement and all that other stuff.
So I like that. I like that they do acknowledge that they do have history together.
And, bro, the finish was tight. He beat him with, an avalanche sleeper? An avalanche dragon sleeper? So I know they jumped off the rope, and then he landed in the dragon sleeper, and, Miro was out.
So, okay. Yeah, the finish itself, I think what they were trying to tell was, okay, we know Miro had a bad neck. He keeps talking about that in his promos, and he, he loves God, but he knows he has a bad neck. And so Bryan Danielson was working the neck a lot in this match, hitting him on the ground mat, the ground and pound on the mat. So this finish here, I think what they were trying to do was Bryan Danielson was trying to do a DDT off the top rope. He landed and then they fell apart. And then Bryan Danielson jumped back on him to do the sleeper triangle. What he did, or was that the sleeper triangle on him?
It's a dragon sleeper, I think.
Dragon sleeper. Let me see how AEW words it. Let's see. Danielson applied a submission, but Miro was knocked out. From the well-placed DDT, and ref Aubrey Edwards stopped the match. Danielson's the new number one contender. Okay, so they just said submission. They even list the name of the finisher. Yes, I thought it seemed a little botched. I don't know. I wonder what the plan, was the plan to be like when they fell off the rope doing that DDT, was he supposed to stay connected to him and still apply the submission right after? It didn't look totally of a smooth transition. I think that's what a lot of people were kind of commenting on. It just didn't seem a smooth finish right there.
Yeah. But I think they were going for the stunned knockout factor.
Yeah, exactly. But the match itself, it was interesting because Bryan Danielson, ever since he's been AEW, he's been more of that killer in the ring. While in WWE, Daniel Bryan was more of the underdog trying to overcome the odds. He's the smaller guy. Here in AEW, they treat him he's still just a killer in the ring.
I mean, he had that killer mentality when he was the ego-friendly champion.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Notice he started stomping on dudes' heads and stuff like that.
Yeah. But so this match here, you can argue was his biggest opponent to date, as far as just size wise.
Oh yeah. And
so Bryan was definitely trying to get Miro on the ground and will do a lot more pounding on him. But Miro was absorbing it and was at one point was like, keep kicking me, kick me. And then there was a lot of false finishes and Miro kept looking up at the up high, looking at his God, asking for help but this match, I did enjoy it a little bit slower compared to maybe some of the other Bryan Danielson matches in AEW thus far. I like the story they're telling. Bryan Danielson, you got to give him credit. Since he's joined AEW, he's been wrestling quite regularly, almost every week between Dynamite and Rampage.
He's even on Dark. He wrestled Aaron Solo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a pretty good match too.
Damn. Okay. So I like the story that they're telling. What Excalibur was saying, dude, he's been wrestling a lot. Is this finally catching up to him? He's been doing a lot of hard hitting matches in AEW. Is this his breaking point? And so I like that story beat as far as putting that in your head. Man, this guy, he's going all out, but when's it going to take a toll? And he's going up against Miro, who's his biggest opponent yet. So I enjoy the back and forth here and Miro not giving up. But he was selling his right leg was wrapped up. So at one point, Daniel was looking, Bryan Danielson was going after that. So, like I said, a little bit slower match compared to some other Bryan Danielson matches here, but I think told a really great story. And so, yeah, Bryan Danielson picks up the victory. He's the new number one contender for the AEW World Championship. So that's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out now, which maybe we'll save that towards the end, or unless you have something about that.
Well, I mean, I watched a little bit of the press scrum. Apparently, D-Bry said that Hangman won't have that thing for very long.
Bryan Danielson said that?
Yeah, at the press scrum after the show.
Interesting. Okay,
yes,
well... All right, well, we'll do maybe some predictions towards the end. So next up was the Falls Count Anywhere match between Jurassic Express, Christian Cage versus the Super Kliq. This match, I actually did enjoy it, but, it wasn't the best Young Bucks match, but because it was a different type of stipulation, the rules in place. What about you, Philip? What do you think?
Man, Luchasaurus and the Shooting Star Press, that was the spot of the night. That won me over.
Dude, Jungle Boy, his reaction was like all of us just like, like in shock, oh my God.
I take back everything I said about Luchasaurus, bro. That was dope. That was dope.
So what I like here, it was interesting. Another contrast in styles was the Super Kliq. They come out in like bright pink colors on their ring gear. Even Adam Cole, he looked like Bret Hart in that gear, which is ironic since he's such a Shawn Michaels fan. I'll just say that. So, and he's friends with Shawn Michaels from his time in NXT. But anyway, these guys are very much playing up the heelish, like, yeah, we're the best. And they get the bright highlighter colors. While Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, I give them credit for a Falls Count Anywhere match, which is ultimately like a street fight. They were dressed ready to go with jeans. Like, I like that detail of like, all right, this is not a traditional wrestling match. We got to dress a little more protective with the jeans, which is funny. Anytime it's like a hardcore type match, jeans is like the go-to ring wear. I guess they figure it's going to protect your legs better, but like, I don't know, like your upper body's still exposed.
Doing a street fight, you don't want to mess up the gear.
Yeah, I guess you're not get ripped up, bloody, all that stuff. Yeah, but would you look at the match here overall?
The thumbtacks into Jungle Boy's mouth and then them doing the running and the kiss. Hey, shout out to Jungle Boy for being willing to do something like that, man. That was cool. I wonder if he swallowed one.
That's why I'm concerned is, listen, I know it's wrestling. They're ultimately trying to protect each other in the ring. Sorry, break kayfabe, but they put all the thumbtacks in his mouth. I'm sure they're trying to keep it maybe under the tongue so that way it doesn't like swallow anything. You're not to get like super like critical detail, but it's like, can he just spit it out as soon as they put it in? But I get it. Adam Cole had him in like the
camel clutch.
Camel clutch, Boston Crab.
Yeah.
So I guess technically he had his mouth, his jaw, closed shut. And then the Young Bucks running back and forth, kiss Adam Cole on the cheek, and then they do the super kick on Jungle Boy. So it was a funny spot. But with that being said, though, I'm like the thumbtacks, man, just spit it out. And this is like what their third time doing that. Didn't Britt Baker do that with Abaddon on a Rampage a while back? And then and then there was a steel cage match. I think someone did that as well. I'm spacing right now what the other one was, but yeah, so they've done that spot a few times now. I thought the match was okay in the ring where it was going, but I think things started really picking up when they went outside. Christian did his version of New Jack, jumping off the top of the seats.
Yes, R.I.P. New Jack.
Absolutely. And then when they went up to the ramp and were on top of the main stage right there, that's where things started getting really chaotic. Jungle Boy had Matt Jackson in the submission hold. And then, as you said, Luchasaurus hit the shooting star press, and Jungle Boy was amazed.
Of the night.
Yes, absolutely.
Spot of the night.
But the big story beat a lot of people were talking about here. So early in the match, when they're in the ring, Christian tried to get Jungle Boy to do a concerto on one of the Young Bucks. He said, no, he didn't want to do it, and he gave the chair back to Christian. To finish the match, when after Luchasaurus hit the shooting star press, the majority of people were knocked out offside. Christian Cage set up for the concerto again. Jungle Boy came up and grabbed the chair and says, I'll do it. he hit the I believe it was Matt Jackson, and then got the pin. So they Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian win. I wonder what's that's supposed to symbolize. As far
I thought Jungle Boy was going to turn.
Yeah,
he was going to hit Christian.
Well, my initial reaction when I saw the first beat, when Jungle Boy said, no, I don't want to do it, I thought I was going to interpret that as like, let's say they lose, hypothetically. I could see Jungle Boy talking to Christian be like, dude, why didn't you do it? We could have won. And he's like, no, I'm not going down that dark path to win like that. And maybe that would have led to them splitting up and Christian turning on Jungle Boy. He's like, you're not ready to be a main event player. You're not ready to get dark enough or something. That's what I was thinking. But then based on the finish, though, we see, Jungle Boy did the concerto and they picked up the victory. So I wonder.
Maybe just everything that had happened in the match, and maybe Jungle Boy thought about everything that the Super Kliq and the Elite have done to him. Maybe it just had enough. I was like, all right, yeah, I'm ready. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like he's becoming a man. It's like, all right, I'm tired of these, asshole heels saying all their crap and, trying to think they can run this place and be dicks to everyone. I'm going to put a stop to them, one way or another. So maybe it's just a way of doing a little more aggressive. So I'm kind of wondering where this is going to lead to. Does Jungle Boy start developing more of an harder edge now? Because, he's been growing the beard out. So, he's starting to look a little more manly, a little bit more older, mature looking. So I wonder if this, I'm getting at here. Like,
I see what you did there.
Which what?
Teaming with Christian, you wonder if he's going to get a harder edge. See what you did there.
Wow, I did not even think of that. That went over my head. I'm sorry.
Kayfabe, Huey, kayfabe.
Oh yeah, I thought dude, you like that. You like how I play that? Wink, wink. No, but that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like I wonder if this is maybe Christian is going to train Jungle Boy to be a little bit tougher, a little more aggressive. So I'm kind of wondering where this is going, or wonder if Jungle Boy maybe I wonder maybe on Dynamite or something. I could see him saying like he regrets going down that dark path, and he didn't like going there. He refuses to go down that way again. And Christian's like, no, you got to keep going. And maybe that can lead to tension, them splitting up. Because what I'm thinking, I think at some point Christian's going to have to turn on Jungle Boy. Christian can become a heel and then put over Jungle Boy at some point as the baby face.
No,
I think that's where it's going.
People are still in the we're happy to have you back phase. Let's wait a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying, like, I just wondering the fact he refused to do the concerto at the beginning of the match and did it at the end. What's that going to lead to moving forward? So we'll keep an eye out for that. Next up, it was a tag team match between Cody Rhodes and Pock taking on Malachi Black and Andrade. Man,
I guess.
Like I said, this match could have just main evented at Dynamite. Like, I'm sorry. I love Cody. Love you, Cody, even though you make fun of me every time we talk. But I'm just saying, this match, if you heard the original plans, it's just going to be a fatal 4-way originally. And then last minute, they decided to make it a tag team match. It's just,
I guess,
because it was like two different storylines merging together. Andrade and Pock were at odds. Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes had been dealing with each other for a while now. And it was going to lead to like a fatal 4-way, but instead they started doing tag team. I wouldn't be surprised they made a tag team because maybe that was a way to kind of get Cody Rhodes not getting booed. So like, okay, let's partner him up with Pock. So that way, when it comes to the ring, he won't get as many boos, but he still got a lot of boos, man. I don't get it, Philip, man. Why is the AEW fan base just booing Cody so hard? Like I really want to have a legit discussion. They're fickle.
They're fickle. Daniel Bryan told us about this years ago. They're fickle.
Yes. Daniel Bryan, he was ahead of his time. He was a visionary. He was true. The fans are fickle. But yeah, no, this match, it kind of came together. I wasn't truly like into this storyline where it's going. Like, if anything, what they should have done, this should have been Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes' third match here instead of doing it on Dynamite a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then have Malachi Black get his first loss here at this pay-per-view. That's, because I like the story when Cody Rhodes first lost to Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes, quote, look, he's going to retire, left a boot in the ring, all that stuff. And then he came back kind of quick, if I remember correctly, right? Like he was gone for a few weeks to film the TV stuff. And then he comes back, challenges Malachi Black and still loses. And then we started doing like these montages with Arn Anderson, like Eye of the Tiger, Rocky 3, Apollo helping Rocky, like he's going to get his groove back, his winning ways, his winning mentality. But instead, I thought it was going to stretch out a little bit longer, but I thought that was a little quick. All of a sudden, like after like, I think 2 weeks of training, all of a sudden he has this match with Malachi Black and beats him. So I was like, I thought that was just a little too abrupt. Like I thought that was a little bit too fast to get to that story ending right there. So I thought they could have stretched it out a little bit more of Cody trying to find his winning ways again, kind of get the Eye of the Tiger and let the third match be here at Full Gear and finally get his win back here. I don't know what you think about like these two storylines just being thrown together. And like, I think Cody Malachi could have been stretched a little bit longer for the finale here.
Look, they just did it to get these guys on the card. I mean,
yeah, no, ultimately, yes, that's the real answer. I think they just get everyone on the card. That's all.
That was it. Pac got the big pinfall victory, which he needed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else to say about this. It's just I wasn't really into it.
I'm still confused why Malachi Black and Andrade are just teaming together. It just doesn't make sense.
Because of the Zelina Vega connection.
I mean, that is true. I mean, there is the Thea Trinidad, Zelina Vega connection there. But too bad she re-signed with WWE. She could be probably there by now working as a manager for them as a tag team. But they're so opposites. Like, I think Malachi Black is still special. I know he's cooled off since his debut, but like, keep him by himself. I like him being like this lone wolf, just killer, black magic, whatever you want to call it, just death metal guy doing his own thing. Keep him separate. Like, it makes him more special when he's on his own by himself. Now that this match is over, I hope he breaks away from Cody and does his own thing, goes after someone else now. And I don't know, maybe because these four guys, we've seen them wrestle so much against each other. We give WWE crap for all their rematches. I'm burnt out seeing all these guys, these four working together. They all need to move on now. I don't know, even the Pock Andrade storyline kind of fell apart because I was getting confused because like Andrade was trying to get the Lucha Brothers to join him, but Pock was pissed off and that just kind of fizzled out. And then the Lucha Brothers went off to do their own thing when the tag titles. Now they're off doing their own thing. So the storyline here I wasn't really feeling the storyline. Does that make sense? I was just getting kind of confused. And that's sometimes my issues with AEW. As hot they can be post coming back in front of an audience since July, putting on these great shows. Sometimes their storylines, I think, are not executed properly to the fullest. I don't know about you. If what you think.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, moving forward, let everyone move on here now. All need fresh new storylines now, especially Cody. I think Cody still needs to turn heel. He's such a polarizing figure right now. I think Cody should turn heel and tell everyone off and say, I'm going to use my EVP powers. I'm going to get rid of my world title stipulation where I can't challenge for the title anymore. That's out of the books now. That's gone. I go after the title now, and he becomes world champion, and it just pisses everyone off. He'll be the greatest heel champion in AEW.
We know once people turn heel, they become a baby face and get cheered.
Become cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Look at Roman as the biggest example.
Yeah. Well, my thing with Cody, it's like, once he put that stipulation in that he won't be challenged for the world title anymore, he put like a ceiling over his what his character can achieve in AEW. We know he's never going to be, quote, be a main eventer for the title. He's always going to be stuck kind of like in that mid card area, or people just go off and fight him and then they move on to the next thing. So Cody Rhodes, like, when he put that stipulation in and he lost, it's like he has a ceiling now on what he can do in AEW. And I don't like that. I wish he get rid of that stipulation, and that way he can be in the world title picture scene again. I think he totally deserves it. So I don't know, it's something to keep our eye on out moving forward. Next up for the AEW Women's World Championship, we saw Britt Baker taking on Tay Conti here.
I'm going to stop you right here.
Okay.
Nobody got hurt. That is all we can ask for.
Yes. I always said this. Tay Conti has definitely improved over the last 4 years that she's been wrestling. I think she's definitely really improved since her time joining AEW. The match itself was okay. Maybe because I was just getting a little tired from so many matches at this point. I was a little fatigued watching. it was a typical Britt Baker match where Rebel and Jamie Hayter were constantly like interfering, getting involved. Typical heel work with the outnumbers the baby face here. Look,
we say it on the Bullet Cast. Britt her matches are very good when she's in there with somebody that is better than her, a la a Thunder Rosa. I kind of wish a Serena Deeb was a baby face to where we could see something like that and really elevate Britt in the ring. You know what I mean?
Britt Baker, amazing character, awesome on the microphone. Those are other aspects of being a pro wrestler that you got to have those qualities, those talents, those skills. She does that. As far as her in-ring work, trying to tell that story,
when she has to lead, it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, it's I don't fully feel it. I know Rebel and Jamie Hayter trying to do their part to really sell that she's a heel and that she relies on help when the ref's not looking. I get that. Tay Conti did look pretty strong here as far as kicking out 2 curb stomps from Britt Baker. But yeah, this match, I was not fully into it. Britt Baker, I think from her in-ring work, there's some things she needs to kind of work on still as far as telling that full great story in the ring. But you're right. When she has a great dance partner, then it makes it a lot better. So yeah, Thunder Rosa, you look at her best matches are Thunder Rosa, that's probably argue match of the year. But yeah, Thunder Rosa worked her ass off to make her look great. So, but yeah, Britt Baker picked up the victory here. Now, what's next though? It's AEW in their women's division. It's interesting because on their pay-per-views, they only get 1 match on the show, and it's just for the world title. I wish AEW works on developing other interesting storylines in the women's division outside of the women's title. You could have interesting stories.
I guess that's basically what the buy-in match was.
I guess that's just for the turn. That was just kind of add more fuel for the tournament.
That was still about a title.
Yeah, exactly. So just, create a storyline between a couple of the women in the women's division. And it's just a regular match. I mean, look at MJF, Darby Allen. It's about who's the best homegrown talent pillar of AEW. Do something like that with AEW, with the women's division. Just give us a couple, women that just don't like each other and they're just fighting out. Because then, unless you're in the world title picture in the women's division, you're not as special. You just kind of fall out of relevancy. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
Unless you're going after the women's championship, you're not doing a lot on TV, and that sucks. You can have maybe an extra match, a women's match on television or on a pay-per-view. You can just develop some interesting storylines, non-title storylines. So anyway, my rant right there. But next up, we saw Eddie Kingston take on CM Punk here. Shortest match of the night. Makes sense. It was a total brawl. But first, what'd you think of CM Punk's ring gear, the trunks?
We talked about it on the show. I guess for when he wrestles the young boys or whatever, he puts on the long boys, the long the long tights. You wrestled Daniel Garcia in the long tights, right? Yeah.
Oh,
and then when
okay.
he has a technical match, he'll put on the trunks, and I guess when he has fights, he'll put on the shorts.
Okay. That's an interesting little detail right there. Look at. Okay.
Yeah, but what I want to talk about is him doing the 5 moves of Cena.
Okay. Okay, real quick. They start the match. The crowd was pretty torn in half as far as Eddie Kingston, CM Punk chants. I know Eddie Kingston was trying to come off more as the heel here, but the crowd was still behind him. He's definitely this generation's Mick Foley in many ways, I think.
Okay.
Just something to keep your eye out on, the true underdog trying to. He doesn't have the perfect look that you would think a wrestler would be successful in. He doesn't have that gimmick. You know what I mean? That presentation, but he still goes out there and kicks ass, and people still love him very much like Mick Foley. So,
yes, sir.
But right before the match started, he hits him with the back fist. CM Punk knocks him out. And I guess he couldn't go for the pin yet because the bell hadn't rang yet. But he starts laughing. So that's very much a heelish move to start the match there. But so no, go ahead and talk about the CM Punk, the 5 stages of Cena.
So yeah, I mean, when they had that promo on Rampage, people compared it to John and Punk back in the day, to where Punk was now in the Cena role and Eddie was in the Punk role. And I'm sure Punk's on the internet, so we picked up on that. And then he does the shoulder block. I'm like, huh. He does another one. I'm like, oh. Then he does, Eddie tries to hit him. He picks him up, slams him down. I'm like, oh, we're really doing this. We're really doing this. And he holds it up, and he looks around, and he's soaking it in. Then he flips him off. Eddie flips him off. I wish he had just went for it. I wish he had went for the 5-knuckle shuffle. But it was just some nice symmetry there.
Yeah, exactly. This was a brawl, man. It was not like some super technical match. It was just two guys trying to fight and kick the crap out of each other. Even Eddie Kingston said, not so much about wins or losses here. He just wants to beat up CM Punk.
Yeah. It does make Eddie look kind of strong because he took 2 GTSs to beat him.
Yeah. And even so, he was doing the go to sleep gesture and then type of thing. So no, this match, like I said, short and sweet. It told the story. CM Punk wins, and then Eddie Kingston will not shake CM Punk's hand. So I guess trying to sell that Eddie Kingston is the heel, and maybe this match where this feud can keep going for another round because, Eddie Kingston's pissed off. So maybe he wants to keep going after CM Punk, which, okay, I guess I'll see another one. How they're going to keep this going now.
If they give us some more promos, yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, which I'll be for that, but it's, I don't know, man. What do you think? A lot of people still want to see CM Punk go heel. Do you think we can see a double turn here?
Not yet.
No,
it needs to be the right person. Like a heel CM Punk against a babyface champion Adam Page. Oh yeah, give me that.
But see, I like this story here. It's CM Punk. He's the guy, the veteran that hasn't wrestled in 7.5 years. And he's still trying to get his legs under him. So we're so used and conditioned to WWE when a legend comes back, he immediately gets hot-shotted to the main event scene, gets a world title shot, and acts like no time has passed. And the younger guys are selling for him, or the older person, like this person's a stud. I like the story they're telling here. CM Punk is like, I haven't wrestled in a long time. I'm a little rusty. I'm going to face all the younger guys, work my way up, pay my dues, and work my way up back to the top. It's a different story that we're used to seeing from a legend who's been gone for a while. And I'm enjoying this. And so Eddie Kingston, I think, is like his first real major opponent. And this is a stepping stone. And I'm fine him being a babyface for a while to kind of keep paying his dues. And then when he reached that level, like back in the main event title scene, then maybe he can go heel at that point. So I don't know. We'll see. Next up was the Minneapolis street fight between the Inner Circle taking on American Top Team and also Men of the Year.
I barely paid attention, bro. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, this match was a little bit of a train wreck, no pun intended, but yeah, it was all over the place. Listen, I give Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page so much credit because literally it was a 5-on-2 match. I mean, let's be real. Like, Andrade Arvikatsky. Hope I'm saying that.
I guess that's how you say his name.
Dude, the guy came in. He did not know what he was doing. Like, he was trying to throw some punches, but you could tell he was holding back. He didn't want to throw a real punch, but it just still didn't look effective. And he did a couple of moves, and then he went back out. Junior Dos Santos, he looked a little bit better in the ring. But these guys, you could tell, are just not wrestling. I mean, Junior Dos Santos, he looked a little bit better as far as doing some actual moves, but these guys are not wrestlers, and so it just seemed a little sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, we have celebrity matches where you get like a Pat McAfee or a Bad Bunny, and they just excel.
Yeah,
and then you get, I mean, McAfee was an athlete, Bunny's a musician, but you get like combat athletes like Dos Santos and whatever this guy's name is, and it doesn't land.
Yeah. Which is interesting. And that's the thing. It was like 3 non-wrestlers in this match. And so Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page were doing a lot of the work here, the heavy lifting. Inner Circle, did their thing. And, they went all over the place too, which I don't know about you, man, but I was between this and the Falls Count Anywhere match. It felt like 2 similar matches. You know what I mean? That was something that was kind of interesting. It was like, okay, we saw the Falls Count Anywhere. They were using some hardcore type stuff, some weapons, the thumbtacks, the chair. And then Minneapolis street fight, they were using weapons as well. So you know what I mean? It's like we already saw the Falls Count Anywhere early in the match, and then we see this match. Like, one of them should not have happened on this show. Then
honestly, it should have just been Lambert versus Jericho 1-on-1.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, and then actually something I want to ask you. So throughout the night, we touched on it earlier, a lot of Eddie Guerrero tributes in the ring. Lucha Brothers,
Three Amigos,
doing the Three Amigos. Pento's doing Three Amigos, and he tagged Ray in, and then Ray went for the frog splash. But FTR kicked out, which I was a little pissed at that. I was like, man, they kicked out the frog splash. They should not kick out the frog splash, man. They should have, pulled Ray off that pin, or maybe one of them got the knees up on the frog splash. But, if you're going to celebrate Eddie that night, don't kick out the frog splash. That's one little detail. But yeah, there's a lot of Three Amigo moves in the matches there. But for Chris Jericho, I thought it was really cool. He pointed up, up to the sky and hit the frog splash and got the pin on Dan Lambert. And so, was it Dan Lambert that he got the pin on?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, let me double check here. Let's see. Yeah, Lambert was alone in the ring with Jericho, and Jericho went for the lion saw, but Junior Dos Santos smacked him outside the ring. That's right. And then Dan Lambert grabbed Jericho to put him in the walls of Jericho, but Jericho escaped and smacked Lambert. And then Junior Dos Santos with shots from the kendo stick. Jericho took Lambert off his feet with the hit him below the belt. And then Jericho pinned them after the frog splash. So Jericho hit a frog splash in honor of Eddie Guerrero. Great little tribute there. So I thought that was a great.
That was a good frog splash.
Yeah, man. For Chris Jericho, that was great. So that was awesome.
Still got it, man.
Absolutely.
Our friend still has it. Yeah,
I know, man. Dude, he's going to be here in May. So we got to talk about the frog splash.
Absolutely.
You give us like a little private story about that night or something.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. So Inner Circle wins here. I don't know, man. What do you think? Inner Circle, like, they really cooled off, man. So I don't know if they need to like break up or step away from each other. I'm just, they kind of maybe need to move their ways, go their separate ways right now.
I guess because Jericho's not really going to be doing much anything. Looking at it, we know what Sammy Guevara is wrestling Jay Lethal for the TNT title on Wednesday.
Yeah,
proud and powerful. I don't know. Try to go after those tag team titles. I don't know what Hager is going to do.
That's the thing. I think Proud and Powerful, I want them to go after those tag titles. They need to kind of break off and get back on their winning ways as a tag team. Like, the tag team division is really thriving right now, and I want to see them more involved with that. When
Conan was around, I wanted them to kind of go off with him to be like, hey, we were successful with him once. We can do it here on a bigger stage.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So, yeah, after the match, Tony Schiavone introduced the newest signee to AEW. Yes, it's Jay Lethal.
I was shocked.
Impact and Ring of Honor fame. So, yeah, man, your thoughts on him signing?
I'm happy for him. There are some. He was a part of the Speak Out movement last year.
Yeah,
his name was out. I forgot all about that stuff. Honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
But just going off of his ring work, I think the longest reigning television champion in Ring of Honor history. He had the Ring of Honor heavyweight title and TV title at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Machismo stuff is legendary.
Yeah.
The woo off with Ric Flair. That's TNA's highest rated segment of all time. It was great. I remember that. I loved it so much. Still do.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Jay Lethal, man. He's I've always thought he was kind of underrated in a way.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm happy for him too, because he did a lot of great work in Impact or TNA, and I think there were moments where he looked like he was going to get a big push, but then TNA was going through a lot behind the scenes with management and stuff. So I think like his career was kind of stop and go a lot from what I remember. He did a lot of great things in Ring of Honor world champion. And, I think Madison Square Garden, or All In, one of those were like two of the biggest crowds he's ever worked in front of. So I'm just happy for him to be with AEW. This is probably the largest promotion he's ever working with. So at this later point of his career, this is, the biggest audience he's going to be wrestling in front of. So it just shows, keep striving, man, keep hustling, and so I'm glad after all these years, he's getting this opportunity in his career.
I do like how his theme song is Pomp and Circumstance, Jace. Like, you listen to it, there's Pomp and Circumstance in there for Randy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's cool. We'll get some of that Macho Man impression on the show.
He did a Flair impersonation when he said Shivani.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I used to watch that, back in the day on Nitro. Yes, sir.
Exactly, man. Live every week.
Live, yes, sir.
But I'm really happy for Jay Lethal as far as someone, like I said, paid his dues in TNA, Ring of Honor, and now this is his biggest opportunity of his career. So I'm really excited what he can do. I wonder, man, will he beat Sammy Guevara? Oh, so he comes out, says hi to everyone, and his first match is this Wednesday on Dynamite against Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. I wonder, would they let him win on his first night?
I don't know.
Because that's the thing we think about. The World Championship, that belt has had long title reigns, whoever had it. The TNT Championship's a little more of a hot potato. That's done a little more bouncing around.
Yeah, I mean, because the television championship back in the day, a guy could hold it for like a month, and then all of a sudden on some random house show in Poughkeepsie, he loses it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of have that same feel. If Jay Lethal won today, I'd be happy for him.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what he could do. I hope they do something with him. I hope he doesn't fall into kind of like the Bobby Fish situation. Bobby Fish, great veterans, come on the roster, but he's just kind of like that guy who just puts on great matches with the younger talent, helps put them over. So, but then again, you need wrestlers on your roster like that to help get the younger talent over. So, yeah, I really want to see what Jay Lethal can do here. I'm happy for him, and someone that's paid his dues elsewhere, gained this opportunity, he totally deserves it. All right, main event time: AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega with Don Callis in his corner, taking on Hangman Adam Page. The video package before this match, dude, was awesome. Like the drone shot, you see like outside Target Center, you see the Dark Order running across the bridge. And then it's flying around the block, and you see Hangman on the horse, and he's coming to the arena. Man, like I just love the opening story. The story that's going on here is, Hangman Adam Page. He lost the first match for the crown, the first ever AEW World Champion, to Chris Jericho.
Yes,
lost that opportunity. Then he lost his friends in the Elite, and then he won the tag titles with Kenny Omega. They had a great title reign, but then they lose the titles. Then they lose. Then he loses to Kenny at the Eliminator tournament at Full Gear a year ago. Last year. Then a month later, Kenny wins the title, turns full heel with Don Callis. Hangman is just really down on his luck, and so it's just really just like 2-year plus story of telling Hangman's rise from the top to the bottom again. From the bottom to the top again. It's a really amazing story here. But yeah, what'd you think of the match itself?
I thought it was good. It ended anticlimactically for me. If that's the word. It's late. Because I pictured. All right, so the way we're gonna get this, Kenny's gonna hit that one wing angel on Hangman, and he's gonna kick out. I thought that's what was going to happen. But, Hangman hits one wing angel on Kenny. Kenny kicks out. Hangman hits the buckshot Larry to the back of Kenny's head. Kenny's dazed or whatever. The Young Bucks are out at ringside. Hangman looks at Matt. Matt looks at Hangman, and Matt nods like, okay, I know what you have to do. We approve. And then he hits that buckshot Larry. Boom, 1, 2, 3. We have a new world champion.
Yeah, so the match is great. You can argue match of the year. 25-plus minutes. Hard-hitting, all over the place. Great story here. I mean, Hangman did the flying like elbow outside of Kenny on the table.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a great spot. We had the ref bump where Kenny Omega brought the ref in front of him, and then Hangman hit him with the buckshot. And then we see Ref Aubrey run in, very much like Little Nate. Remember Little Nate at WrestleMania to the ring?
WrestleMania 24 for the main event of Taker and Edge. Yes.
Yeah. So he runs to the ring, slides in. Ref Aubrey, the way she was running, it was a shorter ramp, shorter distance, but just reminded me of Little Nate running to the ring. So the match here, like I said, amazing. I'm with you. I thought we were going to see finally someone kick out the one wing angel, because that was the most protected move in all of AEW, next to Brock Lesnar's F5
over in WWE.
Yeah, over in WWE, like Brock Lesnar's F5 was like the most protected finisher for forever and until was it Drew McIntyre kicked out of it or
Now the end of days is the most protected finisher in WWE.
Exactly. So but that's the thing. It's like they keep referencing the One Wing Angel for so long that no one's kicked out of it. So I was like, this is going to be a major story beat. Whenever Kenny drops the title, someone is going to kick out of the One Wing Angel. It did not happen. So I was bummed. I was with you. I was like, this is a little anticlimactic.
It kind of took me out of it.
Yeah. Because I thought, okay, when Hangman got Kenny and hit the One Wing Angel on him, I was like, okay, this is a little foreshadowing. It's going to come. It's going to come. It didn't happen. Kenny kicked out and they're like, oh, hey, man, it's not his finisher. He doesn't do it as well as Kenny. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get that. It's not his finisher. He's not used to doing it properly, kayfabe wise. But then I thought what we're going to see here was Kenny was going to do it and Hangman was going to kick out. We never got that. I'm like, oh, like I was so pissed. I was like, as much as happy it was for Hangman, I mean, as you said, so the Young Bucks come, limping out to the ring. I'm like, oh, here we go. Which I was like, okay, the numbers are really going to be against Hangman because we already had Don Callis in Kenny's corner. Now it's going to have the Young Bucks, so it's going to be like 4 against 1 with the ref bump. Like I was like, Hangman's going to win, but it's going to look super. She's going to look super strong in this, very much like Johnny Gargano at TakeOver when he beat Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era. Like I was like, that's fine. I love the babyface outbeating the outnumber game here. And so when Hangman was outside, he hit the dead shot on him, and then he went outside. Nick Jackson walked over and stared at him, and Hangman thought he was gonna, Nick was gonna grab his legs or something. He didn't. Hit the buckshot, and then he went on the other side to do another buckshot. Matt walked over there, and then Matt looked at him, and we thought, oh, is Matt gonna grab his feet here? And he didn't. He just nodded, like, it's okay, go ahead, do it. He hit the second buckshot and pinned Kenny Omega and got the victory. And he's the new AEW World Champion. Dark Order come out, offer a beer. Hangman knocks the beer away. Instead, just gives big group hug, carries him up on the shoulders, very much like Lex Luger when he won the WCW championship in the 90s. So why are you booing that moment with Lex Luger?
Lex Luger was terrible. He was absolutely terrible.
But
Jesus.
Like I said, I love this story, how it played out. It's like 2 years in the making. Talk about long-term storytelling as far as, Hangman losing the first AEW World Championship match to Chris Jericho, then goes on this roller coaster of losing his friends in the Elite, loses the tag titles with Kenny Omega. Kenny ultimately turns heel on him. Kenny becomes world champion. Hangman's got to find himself. He has new friends with the Dark Order. He has up and down friendship with them. Finally wins the title, overcomes the odds. So it's this amazing long-term storytelling. Before I forget, do you remember why was Hangman kind of feeling distant from the Elite? Remember when he was like drinking by himself? Was that stuff on Being the Elite? Like those story beat? Like I never. That was something back in what 2020. Because remember, it was the Stadium Stampede match where he walked out by himself or walked away. Like he was always walking around with the drink, but I hope someone maybe on YouTube fully explains this story, because there were moments I remember on Dynamite that didn't happen. And I guess they were more told on Being the Elite. So
yeah,
that's my one thing frustrating with Being the Elite is like, if these are main storylines for long-term story, tell them on Dynamite as well. So that way us fans, we know what's going on.
Hell, the name Full Gear came from Being the Elite. Hangman Page, he wasn't full gear ready. He wasn't in shape.
Yeah. So what do you think the next story here is? Do you think Kenny Omega is going to be off TV for a while now? Because I know he's been legit battling some injuries.
I think that's probably the best. Like Kenny, heal up or whatever, and just start inching towards Bryan Danielson and Hangman.
So are you cool with that? 2 baby faces going at each other next? Or should
championship matches don't have to be babyface versus heel all the time. Okay. Like I'm intrigued by heel matches. That intrigues me.
Okay.
Babyface versus babyface, that's fine.
Yeah. So I'm curious too what's going to happen next as far as, okay, we got Hangman. He's champion. Do the Young Bucks distance themselves from Kenny Omega? Is Kenny Omega going to be pissed at them because they didn't help him out to retain the title? Does Adam Cole come in the picture? And it's like Adam Cole, the Super Kliq turn on Kenny Omega? Could the three of them branch off from Kenny Omega and, they need a new fourth man? Could that lead to Kevin Owens showing up and Mount Rushmore is reunited and they go up against Kenny Omega and Kenny Omega needs a new faction? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to think of all these different possibilities here. So I think there's a lot more. And then, Hangman, where does he go? Yeah, Bryan Danielson seems to be his first opponent. You got MJF now. So they're really trying to build up all these heels now because we haven't had a babyface champion in a long time. So all these new heels are going to come. Miro could be. That's why I kind of thought Miro should have won on this night because then he can make an argument, or he'll be the new number one contender, him, MJF. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to build up more heels to go after Hangman Adam Page. I do think he's not going to have a super long title reign compared to everyone else so far. Jericho had a long reign. Moxley had a long reign.
Jericho wasn't that long. It was
like 6 months.
It was August to February. Yeah, I mean that's 6 months. I mean that's long relatively, like now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. And Moxley had it from February to December.
Yeah,
and then Omega. So
December to November.
Yeah, 6 months, 10 months, and 11 months. So I wonder, how long Hangman's title reign is going to be. That's something to look out for. But I enjoyed the match overall. I'm pissed that, he did not kick out the One Wing Angel. That's the one thing that would have made this like a super all-time classic match for me. That was one thing I was missing. So, but we'll see what happens on Dynamite this week. And it's going to be exciting, the fallout on Dynamite and Rampage moving forward. So, all right, Philip, on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Where can the Kliqsters find you online? You
people know where to find me.
Absolutely. I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey 83. Of course, follow us at In The Kliq on social media. And more importantly, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. Also on YouTube, subscribe to us there. Watch the videos. Give us a like on those videos. Leave a comment as well. Help share the podcast as well. We appreciate all the continuous support. InTheKliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.